CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta, located in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 11th of August and here is the GB2RS news broadcast, which was prepared for you by the RSGB and made available to all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on the RSGB website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that may be mentioned in this broadcast. This week's news headlines. The RSGB 2024 convention will have presentations, workshops and forums to suit many interests. The RSGB welcomes University Technical College South Durham Radio Club to its School Zone webpage. And there's an update from the RSGB's award manager about operating awards. We'll have more on those items soon, but first the RSGB convention will have a mix of presentations, workshops and forums for all interests. On Saturday morning there'll be an EMC and EMF presentation, and that will have an informal EMC and EMF clinic in the afternoon. Led by our EMC committee, comprising of Chair John Rogers, M0JAV, with Ian White, GM3SEK, and Peter Zollman, G4DSE, who are two of the committee's EMF consultants. These sessions are not to be missed. Hear the latest updates and then take your EMC and EMF problems to the clinic, where John, Ian, Peter and other specialists will be ready to help. This is one of the many great amateur radio topics being covered at the event, and you can book your convention tickets at rsgb.org/convention. Well, we're thrilled to welcome the University Technical College South Durham Radio Club to our School Zone webpage. The club, using the call sign Mike 1 Uniform Tango Charlie, is led by Professor Ian Neal, M0KEO, and he's also our British Science Week coordinator. The club looks forward to operating at the start of the new term in September, and if you'd like to view contact details for this or any of the other school or college amateur radio clubs, go to rsgb.org/school-zone. And we also have a list of university amateur radio clubs, and you can find that list at rsgb.org/university-corner. And if you're part of a school, college or university club that isn't listed on any of those pages, then feel free to email the name of the club, contact details and any web links to comms, that's Charlie Oscar Mike Mike Sierra, at rsgb.org.uk. Now, as part of our commitment to keep you updated, the awards manager has some important words about our operating awards so far this year. Lindsay Pennell, G8PMA, is keen to hear from you about the types of awards you enjoy and new ones that you'd like us to develop if possible. And one of the ideas he's considering is a series on the marathon/challenge theme, and that's to run over a period to achieve certain targets. And if that would interest you, do let him know. And also, if you're a keen award chaser and would like to share a story, then Lindsay would love to hear from you. You can contact him at awards@rsgb.org.uk, and you can also see the messages on his page of the RSGB website. Go to rsgb.org.uk and then look for the section headed Awards Manager. And a reminder also to listen for the stations that will be on the air during International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. That's on the 17th and 18th of August. This is one of the most popular amateur radio events, and in the past years there have been more than 500 entries from over 40 different countries. And you can find details about the event and a registration form at illw.net. That's India Lima Lima Whiskey.net. The British Inland Waterways on the Air event runs from Saturday the 24th to Monday the 26th of August. The event is open to amateurs who use canals, towpaths, rivers, lakes or reservoirs for work or recreation. And registration is now open for you. Sign up at nharg.org.uk. That's November, Hotel, Alpha, Romeo, Golf, .org.uk, and once you're there, follow the Bywater 2024 link. National Hamfest 2024 is on the 27th and 28th of September, and it promises to be a memorable celebration of all things amateur radio. Traders and manufacturers will bring you the best in amateur radio equipment and accessories, and many exhibitors will be having exclusive deals, which will make it the perfect time for you to upgrade your shack. Online ticket sales are open, and the early bird discount is available until the 31st of August. And to get your ticket sales and to benefit from that discount, go to National Hamfest, that's all one word, nationalhamfest.org.uk. And let's remind you that if you have any news that you'd like to share on Radcom or the broadcast or our website, then take advantage of this opportunity for free publicity. Send your news to radcom@rsgb.org.uk. We'll include your news in those three forms, but there is a deadline, so if you've got time-critical news, be sure to get the news to us before the Thursday on prior to Sunday's broadcast, and if you can, get that to us by 10 a.m. on Thursday before that broadcast. And now we have details of rallies and events. The Flight Refueling Amateur Radio Society's Hamfest takes place today, the 11th of August. The venue is the Cobham Sports and Social Club Ground. That's in Merley, near Wimborne in Dorset. The doors open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and admission, which includes car parking, is £5. There's catering and bar facilities on site. And for more information, you can visit the event's website, which is FRARS, that's Foxtrot Romeo, Alpha Romeo Sierra, .co.uk/Hamfest. The Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society's annual radio rally is taking place on Sunday the 18th of August. That's at Princethorpe College in Princethorpe near Rugby. The doors open from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. and sellers can get in from 8 a.m. to set up. The admission is £4 per person, and pre-booked pitches are £15 each. And on the day you can also buy pitches, but they'll cost £20, so well worth booking early. For more information, you can email rally@rugbyats, that's all one word, rugbyats.co.uk, or you can visit rugbyats.co.uk. The West Manchester Radio Club's Red Rose Summer Rally is set to take place on Sunday the 18th of August at St Joseph's Hall. That's on Mather Lane in Lee, and the postcode is Whiskey November 7 to Papa Juliet. The doors open at 10 a.m. and for more information and for bookings you can email rally@wmrc.co.uk, that's Whiskey Mike Romeo Charlie.co.uk, or you can phone 07796 264 569. And now we move to the special event news. Bush Valley Amateur Radio Club will be active from all three lighthouses on Rathlin Island during International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend, and that's on Saturday the 17th and Sunday the 18th of August. Operators will be working on the 80 to 10 metre bands using SSB, Morse code and FT8. So listen out for special event call signs: Golf Bravo 1 Romeo Papa, Golf Bravo 2 Echo Lima, and Golf Bravo 2 Whiskey Lima, which will all be in use. And for more information you can go to the qrz.com page for each of those call signs, and I'll repeat those call signs for you. So qrz.com and look up Golf Bravo 1 Romeo Papa, Golf Bravo 2 Echo Lima, or Golf Bravo 2 Whiskey Lima. The Danish amateur radio experimenters are activating special event stations in Denmark to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Islands on the Air, or IOTA. There'll be various activities from both fixed island amateur radio stations and from island expeditions to some of the 101 Danish IOTA islands. All amateur radio bands can be used with Morse code, SSB, RTTY and several digital modes. There's a diploma. Let me start that again. There's a diploma available for contacts and also for shortwave listener reports with special event stations during the period from the 1st of July to the 31st of August. And all logs will be uploaded to Club Log and Logbook of the World. And if you want more information, go to the OZ60 IOTA page at qrz.com, and I'll spell that phonetically. So on qrz.com, look up Oscar Zulu 60 India Oscar Tango Alpha. The Unicom Radio Club is operating using special call sign Golf Bravo 1 Uniform Romeo Charlie. That's until the 4th of September. And this activity marks the official introduction of this international club to the amateur radio community. For more information, you can visit their website, which is Unicom Radio. That's all one word, unicomradio.com/Golf Bravo 1 Uniform Romeo Charlie. And now we have the DX news. Emil Delta Lima 8 Juliet Juliet is active as Oscar X-Ray / Delta Lima 8 Juliet Juliet. He's operating from Greenland until the 15th of August. He's operating on the HF bands using Morse code from a camp at Tasilak. That's IOTA reference November Alpha 151. And then he'll be operating from various locations on the main island, which is IOTA reference November Alpha 018. Raphael November 3 Romeo Papa is active as Yankee November 2 Romeo Papa. He's operating from Nicaragua and he'll be active until the 20th of August. He's operating using SSB, Morse code, FT8 and FT4 on the 40 to 10 meter bands. You can QSL via Logbook of the World, EQSL, or direct to November 3 Romeo Papa. And now we move across to the contest news. On Tuesday the 13th, it's the 432 MHz FM activity contest. That runs from 1800 to 1855 UTC. Runs using FM on the 70 centimeter band, and the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then also on Tuesday the 13th, it's the 432 MHz UK activity contest, and that runs from 1900 to 2130 UTC. Using all modes on the 70 centimeter band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. The Work Tool Europe DX Morse Code Contest started at 0000 UTC on Saturday the 10th, and it runs until 23:59 UTC today, Sunday the 11th of August. Using Morse code, on the 80 to 10 meter bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. On Wednesday the 14th, it's the 432 MHz FT8 activity 4-hour contest, and that runs from 1700 to 2100 UTC. Using FT8 on the 70 centimeter band, the exchange is report and 4-character locator. And also on Wednesday the 14th, it's the 432 MHz FT activity 2-hour contest. That runs from 1900 to 2100 UTC. Using FT8 on the 70 centimeter band, the exchange is report and 4-character locator. And if you enter the 4-hour contest, you may also enter the 2-hour contest. Then on Thursday the 15th, it's the 70 MHz UK activity contest, and that runs from 1900 to 2100 UTC, and uses all modes on the 4 meter band, with the exchange being your signal report, serial number and locator. And now we have the radio propagation report, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for, compiled by G0KYA, G3YLA and G4BAO on Thursday the 8th of August. Well, so much for the experts. NOAA predicted that the solar flux index would fall this week when it actually increased to a whopping 303 on Thursday the 8th. But this high solar flux was accompanied by a strong risk of solar flares, so it wasn't all plain sailing. We've had 15 M-class and 2 X-class solar flare events over the past 3 days, and the threat remains high. Coronal mass ejection activity on Wednesday resulted in NOAA and the Space Weather Prediction Center warning of possible moderate G2 magnetic storming towards the later part of the week ending the 11th of August, and this could see the KP index rise and the maximum usable frequency fall. Hopefully conditions will be improving now. Last week was good for HF propagation with a high solar flux index and low KP index. The 10-meter band was open to Brazil in the late afternoon, and this appeared to be F2 layer propagation and not multi-hop sporadic E. The 15-meter band has been perhaps the best DX band, with long openings to the far east, at least on FT8 and North America at the same time. HF conditions should improve as we move into September, but more on that closer to the time. Attention now shifts to November 5 Juliet, the November 5 Juliet Jarvis Island expedition, which is an uninhabited 4.5 kilometer square coral island in the South Pacific. It's about halfway between Hawaii and the Cook Islands, and this D expedition is active on all bands. Their website is Jarvis Island 2024, that's all one word, jarvisisland2024.com. And using that website, you can get propagation forecasts personalized. And do let us know if you work the station, which is November 5 Juliet. Using Proppy at soundbites.asia or voacap at voacap.com, we can see that the 20, 17 and 15 meter band short paths seem to offer the best chance of working the D expedition, with morning openings from around 0600 to 1000 UTC. There's also the potential for long path openings between 1800 and 2000 UTC, with possibility of 10 meter band openings at around 1900 UTC. And the paths are near polar, so over the poles, and may be badly affected by high KP indices if the KP index is above about 3 or so. CDXC members with good stations have reported contacts with N5J on the 17 meter band using FT8. Now next week, NOAA predicts that the solar flux index will be in the range of 185 to 240. Geomagnetic conditions will depend on whether we have had more solar flares and coronal mass ejections, and the chances of those remains high. An Earth-facing coronal mass ejection could send the KP index soaring, and that could lead to reduced maximum usable frequencies and noisy bands. So keep your fingers crossed for more quiet geomagnetic conditions and low KP indices. And now we have the VHF and up propagation news. This was compiled by G3YLA and G4BAO. Well, the summer tries to deliver, but overall the pattern has had a rather unsettled flavour to it for the coming week. On the positive side, we see a transient area of high pressure that's crossing southern Britain over this weekend, ending today the 11th, and this could give some tropo conditions, but after this the Atlantic westerly flow brings a succession of fronts and showers in most areas. For propagation, this suggests that rain scatter will have the best of it in the week ahead. The sporadic E-seasons remains a good fallback, and it did surprise us in East Anglia mid-morning on Tuesday the 6th of August with 144 MHz sporadic E propagation to YU, HA, 9A and LZ, moving around towards Italy as the opening progressed. All were workable with 100 watts and just a simple vertical antenna on FT8. For the coming week, the jet stream activity will probably start by favouring paths to Scandinavia and the Baltic. Later in the week, a new jet stream will drive southeast into Iberia, opening up chances for paths to EA and CT, that's Spain and Portugal. The Perseids meteor shower this week will provide welcome new fuel to sporadic E, and as a result, like most years, we'll see openings into the first week of September. The meteor scatter highlights is the Perseids meteor shower, which peaks on Monday and Tuesday, so there are plenty of opportunities to try a new mode or fill in some missing grid squares if you're already involved in meteor scatter. Many websites explain what it's all about, but one to start you off is Golf 7 Romeo Delta X-ray.co.uk. That's G7RDX.co.uk. Also, try looking for videos of meteor scatter and on STR as well to get an idea of what it all sounds like. The solar conditions lately have been rather disturbed, and it wouldn't be surprising if the KP index was to suggest that aurora could be a possibility if it gets to 5 or more. Moon declination is negative, and it reaches minimum on Thursday the 15th, and that means that there'll be short moon visibility windows and low peak elevation. Path losses will decrease throughout the week, and 144 MHz sky noise is low over the weekend, but it is climbing to reach a high peak of over 3200 Kelvin on the 15th. And that's all from the propagation team this week. Well, now we have the local news, and please note that details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies are available on our website, which is rsgb.org. And that includes email addresses and website links where we know them. Well, we start off with news for the Midlands. Meetings of the Bolsover Amateur Radio Society take place every other Tuesday, starting at 8 p.m. at the Bainbridge Hall in Bolsover, and the postcode is Sierra 446 Papa X-ray. You can find more information and reminders for meetings on the Society's Facebook page, which is at Bolsover ARS. You can also contact Vin G4KSY on 01246 827 135 for more information. The Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meet every Friday from 8 p.m. and members also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the Club Shack from 10:30 a.m. And on Monday and Wednesday evenings they have a net on 145.375 MHz at 7:30 p.m. The Burton Amateur Radio Club has open nets around 145.575 at 10 a.m. on Sundays and 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Then on Monday they have slow Morse code exercises on 14.055 MHz from 11 a.m. and the club meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Thursday's net is on 145.575 from 8 p.m. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday and from 12 p.m. on Saturday, and the group will have a Google Meet at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. The Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association meets daily on 145.400 MHz at 8:10 a.m. and the Friday net is on 144.350 MHz from 8 p.m. and you can find more information at golf5bravokilo.uk. The Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Wrighton Mill. That's on 59 Vale Street, Upper Gornal in Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 X-ray Foxtrot. The Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society has an informal net every day on 145.475 MHz FM at 3:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday they meet from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz. Then on Thursday they have a net from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz FM, then moving to 80 meters SSB a little later on. Then on Friday they meet on 432.220 MHz SSB from 7:30 p.m. On Wednesday, Hinckley Amateur Radio and Electronic Society will take part in the 432 MHz UK activity contest, and for more information about the society you can visit their website, which is Hinckley ARES, that's all one word, hinckley ARES.co.uk. The Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society has a breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesdays they have a club meeting from 7 p.m. And on Thursdays they meet on 145.300 MHz from 7 p.m. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society meet at its HQ and also via Zoom from 7:30 p.m. Then on Thursday they have a club meeting from 10 a.m. The Lincoln Shortwave Club will meet at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday and from 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. Then on Thursday they have a net through GB2RS, or if the repeater is busy they'll meet on 145.350 MHz. And for more information on the club you can visit their website, which is golf5foxtrotzulu.co.uk. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will hold an open forum on the subject of safety and operating procedures. On Tuesday, Malvern Hill Radio Amateurs Club will meet to listen to a talk by Dave, G4JBD, and on Wednesday they have a net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Midland Amateur Radio Society will hold a general meeting, and they'll also be running training classes. On Thursday, Northampton Radio Club will hold an informal meeting through Zoom from 8 p.m. and for more information on the club you can visit their website, which is Northampton Radio Club, that's all one word, .co.uk. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group will have a shack night and club net on 145.300, that's from 8 p.m. Then on Friday the group will hold a committee meeting. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club have a net on 145.325 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and on Wednesday there's Morse code practice at 8 p.m. and that's being held on 144.085 MHz. And the club will meet at the Pie Wipe from 8 p.m. on Friday. RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club is at the International Bomber Command Centre in Lincoln for the centre's 40th weekend. That's today the 11th. The club expects to be operational between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and they'll be using the call sign Golf Bravo 6 India Bravo Charlie. That's Golf Bravo 6 International Bomber Command. HF operation will be on the 40 and 20 metre bands using SSB and Morse code, and they'll also be active on 2 metres using FM. The Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society has weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz USB. Then on Monday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. they have training and practice Morse code nets. They're on 144.275 MHz, starting off using USB voice, and then once everyone's gathered they move across to Morse code. The Society will meet from 8 p.m. on Tuesday and from 2 p.m. on Saturday at the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut. Then on Friday they have a net from 8 p.m. on 1913 kHz. On Thursday, Salop Amateur Radio Society will meet for a direction finding activity. On Thursday, Solihull Amateur Radio Society has its club net around 145.450 MHz, and that's from 8 p.m. South Birmingham Radio Society has open club nights on Fridays from 7:30 p.m. and visitors are welcome to attend the Society's Tuesday coffee mornings from 10:30 a.m. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group have an open net on 144.225 MHz SSB, and that starts at 7 p.m. and members will have a club evening from 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Then on Friday they'll meet on 70.425 MHz from 7 p.m. On Sundays, Stafford and Districts Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Wednesdays members will meet at the Wildwood Community Centre from 8 p.m. Stourbridge and District Amateur Radio Society meet at the Norton Snooker Club from 8 p.m. on Mondays. Also on Mondays, Stratford upon Avon and District Radio Society have their net on 145.275 MHz from 8 p.m. And for more information on the club's activities, you can visit their website, which is Stratford Radio Society. That's all one word, stratfordradiosociety.org.uk. On Monday, Sutton Coldfield Amateur Radio Society will meet at the Pavilion. That's on 9 Openfield Croft in Water Orton, and they'll meet from 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Telford and District Amateur Radio Society will hold a committee meeting from 7:30 p.m. and for more information on the society, visit their website, which is tdars.org.uk. That's Tango Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meet every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Woodend British Legion. Then on Sundays they have a net which is around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. And if you want more information on the club, you can visit their website, which is Wolverhampton ARS. That's all one word, wolverhamptonars.co.uk, or on social media go to @WolvesARS. On Sundays, Withell Radio Club has its net on 145.225 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Tuesdays members will have a club night from 7:30 p.m. Well, that's all from the Midlands. We now move down towards the southeast and East Anglia. The Banbury Amateur Radio Society have a net most evenings on 144.5125 MHz, and members will meet for a club night on Wednesday. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is Banbury ARES, that's all one word, banburyares.co.uk. On Wednesday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society has its net from 8 p.m. on 145.5625 MHz, and everyone's welcome to join in. Bracknell Amateur Radio Club has its net via Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November from 5 p.m. on Sundays, and on Wednesday members will be meeting for a barbecue. On Tuesday, Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society will meet for a demonstration of and discussion about remote operating. On the 17th and 18th, the Breed Stream Amateur Radio Society will be active from Dungeness Lifeboat Station during International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. All members and non-members are welcome to attend, and for more information you can email bsars.m0nuc@gmail.com. That's Bravo Sierra Alpha Romeo Sierra Mike 0 November Uniform Charlie @gmail.com. On Wednesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society has a net starting on 145.500 MHz from 9 p.m. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is BDARS, that's Bravo Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra .wordpress.com. Burnham Beeches Radio Club has its net from 10:30 a.m. on Sundays, starting on 145.500 before moving to 145.275 MHz. The Bury St Edmunds Amateur Radio Society meets at the Rougham Tower Museum on the third Wednesday of each month. It's a small but very active club, and there are club nets every day of the week except Sunday. Details can be found on the club's website, which is Bravo Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk, and the club's general chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, the Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society has a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Monday they have Morse code classes from 7:30 p.m. around 3542 kHz, and that's followed at 8:15 p.m. by Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Whiskey slow Morse transmissions on 3555 kHz. On Thursday there'll be Morse code classes via Skype from 7 p.m. On Tuesday, Chelsea Pensioners Radio Club have their net on 145.375 MHz from 2 p.m. On Tuesday, Chippenham and District Amateur Radio Club will be listening to a talk by Dave, Golf 3 Zulu X-Ray X-Ray, and that's on the subject of why the dipole is not always the best choice of antenna. On Tuesday, the Colchester Radio Amateurs Club have nets on 433.400 MHz from 7 p.m. and on 1.920 MHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday they meet on 145.350 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Thursday the frequency moves to 3.685 MHz from 7 p.m. Then on Friday they have an open DX net, that's on 14.125 MHz with help on 145.350 MHz from 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Coulsdon Amateur Transmitting Society has nets on 145.400 MHz from 11 a.m. and on 3.700 MHz from 5 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they meet around 70.425 MHz from 9 p.m. Crawley Amateur Radio Club will meet from 11 a.m. on Sunday, 8 p.m. on Wednesday and 2 p.m. on Friday. And the club meets at Hut 18, and that's on Tilgate Drive, Crawley, and the postcode is Romeo Hotel 105 Hotel Whiskey. And you can find more information from Stuart, Golf 3 Yankee Sierra X-Ray. Call him on 0772 006 8493. The Cray Valley Radio Society is located at the Scout headquarters, which is at the rear of 61 to 71 Southend Crescent in Eltham, London, and the postcode is Sierra Echo 9 to Sierra Delta. There are still a few places on its November face-to-face full license course, and any intermediate license holders are welcome to apply. For more information on this, contact Dave, G4NOW. Dave's number is 07956 834 350. And the same club, Cray Valley Radio Society's 2-meter and 4-meter FM nets are held on 145.350 MHz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and 70.425 MHz on Fridays at 8 p.m. And they also have a top band SSB net which moves to AM, and that's on the first Monday of each month around 1.905 MHz at 8 p.m. And on this Thursday, the 16th, there'll be a demonstration by Colin, G4CDM, on 160 meter direction finding. On Wednesdays, the Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club have a net on 145.525 MHz from 8 p.m. And on Saturdays, the club has a net on 51.550 MHz FM starting at 8 p.m. On Sundays, Darenth Valley Radio Society has a net on 145.475 MHz at 8 a.m. Dorking and District Radio Society meet each day, Monday to Saturday, on 144.775 MHz at 10 a.m. On Thursday, Dover Amateur Radio Club will have a club night, and for more information visit darc.online. That's Delta Alpha Romeo Charlie .online. Essex Ham has a net on Monday via Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha, that's from 8 p.m, and they also have chat room and audio feed at essexham.net. On Sundays, Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society meet on 145.400 MHz from 10 a.m, and on Wednesday they get together through the Golf Bravo 3 India Hotel repeater from 7:30 p.m. On Tuesday, Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society will have a technical meeting from 10 a.m, and on Wednesday they meet on 145.425 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Then on Friday the society will meet from 8 p.m, and visitors are welcome to attend. On Wednesday, Harwich Amateur Radio Interest Group is meeting for a sausage sizzle and social event. And for more information, you can visit their club website, which is harig.org.uk. That's Hotel Alpha Romeo India Golf.org.uk. The Hastings Electronics and Radio Club holds a daily net via Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra at 10 a.m. They also have a Morse code net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 MHz. The Morse net is aimed at anyone new to Morse code or who wishes to brush up on their Morse skills. Non-members are welcome to take part, and the net is followed by general conversation. On Wednesdays, usually at 1 p.m, members meet up at various places in the area for an afternoon of portable radio operating on both HF and VHF using SSB, Morse code and FM. Non-members are welcome to visit. The details do vary each week though, so it's a good idea to visit the club's website on Wednesday mornings to see the up-to-date information about where they're meeting. The club website is hastings-electronics-radio-club.com. The Hogs Back Amateur Radio Club will meet for a natter night on Monday. And on Sundays, Horndean and District Amateur Radio Club has a Morse code net at 9 a.m. around 1950 kHz. They then move to SSB at around 9:30 a.m. They also have an 8 p.m. net on 433.450 MHz. And on Monday, they meet around 1950 kHz from 7:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, also from 7:30, they meet at 145.375 MHz. On Thursday, Horsham Amateur Radio Club will meet at the Star Inn in Rusper. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society has a net through GB7PO and GB7MT from 8 p.m. The Society also has a net from Monday to Friday via Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 6:15 a.m. Then on Tuesday, they take part in the Bramble net through GB3IW, that's from 7:30 p.m. And on Thursday, there's another net through GB3IW, and that's followed by a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. Then on Friday, members meet at Haylands Farm in Ryde, and foundation and intermediate license training is available at those meetings. On Tuesday, the Leiston Amateur Radio Club will meet at the school on Waterloo Avenue, and for more information visit their website, which is larc.org.uk. That's Lima Alpha Romeo Charlie.org.uk. Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society has a net on Wednesday from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister DMR Talk Group 23511. Then on Thursday, they meet at 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz, and on Fridays at 8 p.m. they have a Zoom meeting. Lowestoft District and Pye Amateur Radio Club have a net on Sundays on 433.575 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Tuesday, they meet on 145.475 at 8 p.m. Then on Thursdays from 7:30 p.m. the club meets in person. And the final net of the week is on Friday, and that's on 51.490 MHz at 8 p.m. The Martello Tower Group has a net every Monday evening from 8 p.m. through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Lima, and on Sundays the group has a net via Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Echo from 8 p.m. The Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society net is every weekday from 9:30 a.m. and that's on 144.650 MHz. On Monday, Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society will hold a meeting, and on Wednesday they have a net on 28.390 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Friday, the Society will meet on Zoom for coffee and chat, and that starts at 10:30 a.m. The Norfolk Amateur Radio Club has a net through GB3NB every Monday from 7:30 p.m. and that's followed by a Morse code net on 3.543 MHz at 8:30 p.m. Shefford and District Radio Society has a regular top band net on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. on 1.985 MHz lower sideband. And for those who can't make it to the club meetings, there's a net every Wednesday at 8 p.m, which is now moved to Golf Bravo 3 Papa India. And on this net, you can catch up with news of activities and developments within the society and share your own experiences with other members. The Shepparton District Radio Society is now in its summer recess for meetings, but it will restart on the 12th of September after the refurbishment of the clubhouse. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society is having a cafe meeting at 12:15 p.m, and this is followed by a net through Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-Ray at 2 p.m. Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meets every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre. That's on Chells Way in Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 20 Lima Tango. They have free tea, coffee and biscuits for everyone attending. They also have a club net, which is usually organised each Tuesday evening from 8 p.m. on 145.450 MHz. They have another net on Thursday evenings on the 80 metre band. That's close to 3.727 MHz using the club call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta. You can find more information on the club's website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha RomeoSierra.com. On Sundays, the Surrey Radio Contact Club has a net on 1.905 MHz at 9:30 a.m. and on Monday they meet on 3.710 MHz lower sideband from 9 a.m. On Tuesday, the net is on 51.550 MHz from 8 p.m. On Wednesday, they meet on 28.078 MHz JS8 from 10 a.m. and on Thursday at 8 p.m. they meet on 70.300 MHz. On Friday, there's a D-Star net, which is on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and an FM net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. On Sunday the 18th, the Thames Amateur Radio Group will be visiting Southend Airport, and for more information visit the club's website, which is thamesarg, all one word, thamesarg.org.uk. On Sundays, the West Kent Amateur Radio Society has a net on 28.730 MHz from 11 a.m. and the Monday net is on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m. And on Wednesday they meet on 51.510 MHz FM before changing frequency. Well, that's all for this week's GB2RS news broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, excuse me, that's my alarm, which should not have gone off. If you have a news item to share, please email it to us as far in advance as possible so we can include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS news broadcast, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send it to the editorial team, whose email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk, and we need to receive your news by 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the Sunday broadcast. The RSGB will retain copyright over all material transmitted, and you can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. You can also download the full schedule of GB2RS news broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 73 from the GB2RS news team, hoping you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead, and I'll be back again next week. This is Golf Bravo, I keep doing that, every week I do that. This is Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta, now listening for any calls or reports.